Hey, so tonight we're going to talk about something that might make your modern skin crawl a little. We often romanticize ancient times, thinking of noble kings and wise philosophers. But underneath that veneer was a stark, brutal reality. Life was cheap, and the divine often demanded a price that would absolutely shock your comfortable sensibilities today. Forget your plush mattress and your phone's soft glow. Imagine a world where survival hinged on appeasing unseen forces with unimaginable acts. Tonight, we're not just going to read about it, we're going to feel the grit, taste the fear, and hear the screams. But before we plunge into that primal past, do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and let me know in the comments where you're listening from and what time it is for you. Alright, find that cozy spot, pull the covers up tight, and let's dim the lights because we're stepping back into a time when faith meant sacrifice. You stand on the ancient causeway, the stone rough and uneven beneath your bare, calloused feet. The air, heavy and humid even at this early hour, carries the stench of countless lives, a thick, metallic tang that settles deep in your throat. It's not the scent of fresh rain on dry earth or sweet flowers blooming in a garden. It's the smell of blood, of fear, of 1,000 desperate prayers. You're in Tenochtitlan, the heart of the Aztec Empire, a city of staggering beauty and terrifying purpose, built upon the shimmering waters of Lake Texcoco. Look around you, take it all in. The sun, a searing eye in the vast blue sky, is already beginning its ascent, casting long hungry shadows across the monumental Templo Mayor. Its twin sanctuaries dedicated to Tlaloc, the rain god, and Huitzilopochtli, the sun and war god, loom over everything, their red and blue painted facades stark against the white stone of the city. Today is a day of monumental importance, a day etched into the very fabric of your existence. You are not a spectator, not merely an observer from the distant future, shielded by the comforting screen of your device. No, you are here now, a part of this unfolding spectacle, your heart thumping a frantic rhythm against your ribs. You are one of them, a warrior captured in the Flower Wars, a victim destined for the altar of Huitzilopochtli. Or perhaps you are a priest, robed in black, your skin painted in ancient symbols, your hands soon to be stained with the profound act of creation and destruction. For a moment, let's consider you are the priest, chosen, revered, yet burdened with the weight of cosmic responsibility. Feel the rough cotton of your priestly garments against your skin, smell the copal incense burning in 1,000 braziers, its sweet, heavy smoke mingling with the blood smell. The drums begin to beat, a low, guttural thrum that vibrates through the very ground, through the soles of your feet, up your legs into your chest, echoing the frantic pulse of the crowd. Tens of thousands of eyes are fixed on the pyramid, on the ascending file of prisoners, their bodies painted for sacrifice, their obsidian daggers glimmering, and on you. The sun, Huitzilopochtli himself, demands sustenance. Without this offering, without the precious liquid of life, he will falter, grow weak, and the world will plunge into eternal darkness. This is not mere barbarism to these people. It is a sacred duty, a necessary act of cosmic maintenance. You climb the steep steps of the pyramid, each riser a foot high, demanding effort, demanding reverence. The stone is slick in places, not from dew, but from the residue of past sacrifices. Your sandals offer little grip, and you feel the strain in your calves, in your thighs. Around you, other priests move with a chilling, practiced grace. Their faces, usually stern, are now alight with a grim fervor. The air thins slightly at this height, but the sounds intensify, the roar of the crowd, a collective exhalation, a primal chant rising like steam. You can see the entire vast city spread out beneath you, the orderly canals, the floating gardens, the countless homes, all depending on your unwavering resolve. Finally, you reach the summit, the sacred platform where the great sacrificial stone, the Techcatl, sits waiting. It's a dark, polished slab, slightly convex, designed to arch the victim's chest, to make the heart's removal swifter, easier. Take a moment to truly see it, to feel its cold, unyielding presence. It is the focal point of their universe, the connection point between the mortal and the divine. The first victim is brought forward, struggling against the 4 priests who hold his limbs. He is a young man, a brave warrior from Tlaxcala, his fear momentarily overshadowed by a defiant stare, then by a silent, guttural plea to his own gods. But his gods are not here, and their power is diminished in this place. As the prisoner is laid upon the stone, his chest exposed to the hungry sun, you notice the rapid rise and fall of his breath, the frantic beat of his heart visible beneath his skin. This is the moment. The high priest, your superior, steps forward, his obsidian blade, the tekpati, catching the sunlight, a sliver of terrifying light. It is exquisitely crafted, sharper than any steel, capable of slicing flesh with horrifying efficiency. He utters a guttural chant, a prayer to Huitzilopochtli, asking for strength, for favor, for the continuation of the world. The victim's eyes, wide with terror, lock onto something unseen in the heavens, or perhaps onto the faces of his captors. Imagine the sound now. Not just the drums and the crowd, but the sudden sharp intake of breath from thousands. The swift, sure stroke of the blade. Feel the spray, the warmth, the sudden gush. It is not delicate. It is a violent, necessary act. The high priest plunges his hand into the gaping wound, searching, feeling, then with a grunt of effort, he tears the still beating heart from the man's chest. It is held aloft, steaming, vibrant, offered to the sun god, its final frantic pulses a testament to the life force it once contained. The crowd roars, a wave of collective ecstasy and relief washing over the city. Huitzilopochtli is fed. The world will continue for another day. The body, now a vessel emptied of its most vital essence, is pushed down the steep steps of the pyramid, tumbling end over end, staining the stone with its descent, a grim offering to the earth below. And then another victim is brought forward. And another. And another. The cycle continues, a relentless, rhythmic dance of life given for life. You, as the priest, are numb to the horror, hardened by years of witnessing this necessity. You are part of something far older, far greater than yourself, a custodian of cosmic order. But even in this hardened state there is a tremor. The sheer scale, the repetitive brutality, the constant presence of death. You feel the faint mist of blood on your face, the sticky warmth on your hands if you were to assist. The air grows thick, pungent with gore, making your stomach clench. Yet you push it down. You must. This is not a choice. This is the bedrock of your civilization, the ultimate expression of faith and fear. For them, there is no question of morality in the way you might consider it. There is only the grim equation of survival. You watch the sun rise higher, its light now truly illuminating the gruesome scene, the long smears of red on the white stone. You see the awe in the faces of the common people below, the fear in the eyes of the remaining captives, the grim determination of your fellow priests. This ritual, this profound, shocking act of human sacrifice, is not just about death. It is about power, about control, about a terrifying intimacy with the divine. It is a stark reminder of a world where the line between life and death was thin, where the gods were hungry, and where the price of existence was sometimes paid in the most chilling currency imaginable. And as the day wears on, the rhythmic thud of bodies descending the steps becomes a chilling counterpoint to the continuing drumbeat of the heart of Tenochtitlan. Now close your eyes for a moment and feel the shift. The humid air of Tenochtitlan fades, replaced by the crisp, cool mountain breeze of ancient Greece. You are no longer surrounded by the stench of blood, but by the clean, sharp scent of pine and olive trees, mingled with the faint, sweet perfume of burning laurel leaves and the earthy smell of the sacred spring. You are high on the slopes of Mount Parnassus, in the sacred precinct of Delphi, the very omphalos or navel of the world. It is a place of immense power, of sacred silence, and of unsettling, prophetic whispers. Today you are a supplicant, a seeker of truth, burdened by a question that gnaws at your very soul. Perhaps you are a farmer, wondering if your crops will thrive. Perhaps a general, desperate for a sign before a crucial battle. Or a king, anxious about the fate of his kingdom, about a prophecy that has haunted his dreams. You have traveled for weeks, perhaps months, enduring dusty roads and treacherous passes, your heart a mix of hope and profound apprehension. Everyone knows the Pythia, the oracle of Delphi, speaks with the voice of Apollo himself, and her pronouncements, however cryptic, are absolute. You stand in the queue, a line of anxious faces, many drawn with worry, some with the rigid lines of suppressed fear. The sun, bright and unforgiving, beats down on the marble paving stones, reflecting the light into your eyes. You squint, trying to make out the entrance to the Temple of Apollo, its grand facade already visible, but guarded by priests of the cult. The air is thick with anticipation, with unspoken prayers, with the collective anxiety of those who seek to lift the veil of the future. The silence is punctuated only by the distant bleating of the sacrificial goats and the murmur of hushed conversations. As you move slowly forward, you pass through the treasury of the Athenians, a small but exquisitely carved building, a testament to offerings made by city-states in thanks or hope. You walk the sacred way, a winding path leading to the temple itself, flanked by numerous monuments and statues, each a silent witness to countless previous consultations. You can feel the weight of history here, the echoes of countless destinies shaped by the words spoken within these very walls. Every step you take is a deliberate act of pilgrimage, bringing you closer to the moment of truth. Finally, you reach the entrance to the Temple of Apollo. The air here is different, cooler, heavier, imbued with the potent scent of burning laurel and something else, something earthy and slightly sweet, perhaps a mineral vapor rising from the chasm below. You hear the faint rhythmic chanting of the priests, a low hum that seems to resonate within your very bones. Before you can approach the Pythia, a ritual purification is required. You are led to the Castalian spring, its waters clear and cold, flowing down from the mountainside. You wash your hands, your face, feeling the chill awaken your skin, an act meant to cleanse not just your body but your spirit, preparing you for the divine encounter. Next, the sacrifice. A goat is led before the altar, trembling. Its willingness to drink water is observed. If it drinks, it is deemed ready, a good omen. If it resists, the day's divination might be postponed. You watch as the priest cuts the animal's throat, the blood gushing onto the altar, a primal offering to Apollo. The stench of fresh blood, so different from the metallic tang of Tenochtitlan, is brief, quickly dissipated by the mountain air and the ubiquitous incense. This act is not about destruction, but about communion, about asking the gods for favor, for an open channel. Now you are led into the inner sanctum, the adyton. The chamber is dimly lit, the light filtering through small openings, creating an atmosphere of profound mystery. The walls are adorned with ancient carvings, depicting scenes of gods and heroes, their silent gazes seeming to scrutinize your every thought. The air is still, heavy with the scent of laurel smoke, almost hallucinogenic in its intensity. And there, seated upon a tripod, above a fissure in the earth, is the Pythia. She is an older woman, perhaps in her 50s or 60s, dressed in simple white robes. Her face is serene, almost vacant, yet holds a profound wisdom in her eyes, eyes that seem to see beyond the immediate, beyond the mundane. She chews laurel leaves, a hallucinogenic herb, and inhales the vapors rising from the chasm below. These vapors, often described as sweet-smelling, were believed to be pneuma, divine breath, transporting her into a trance-like state, a vessel for Apollo's voice. You approach her, your heart hammering against your ribs, a dry lump forming in your throat. This is it. The moment you've traveled for. The priest who accompanies you hands her your carefully written question, often posed in a yes/no format, or a specific inquiry about a course of action. You are not allowed to speak directly to her in her trance. The priest will relay her words. As you watch her, her body begins to tremor slightly. Her eyes roll back in her head, and her breathing becomes shallow and rapid, then deep and guttural. A low moan escapes her lips, then a series of disjointed sounds, half-words, fragments of sentences, spoken in a voice that is not entirely her own. It is an unsettling sound, ancient, primal, as if the very earth is speaking through her. The priest leans in close, listening intently, his face grave, trying to decipher the divine pronouncement. You strain to hear, your mind grasping for meaning in the stream of sounds. The words are garbled, poetic, often ambiguous, requiring interpretation. This is the challenge of the oracle. Her answers are rarely simple, rarely direct. They are riddles, prophecies veiled in metaphor, forcing you to confront not just the future, but your own understanding, your own choices. Finally, the sounds subside. The Pythia slumps slightly on her tripod, her eyes still glazed, her body still trembling from the ordeal. The priest turns to you, his face a mask of solemnity, and repeats the oracle's pronouncement. It might be a cryptic phrase about a wooden wall, or the highest mountain, or a river turning red. Whatever it is not the straightforward answer you might have hoped for, but a puzzle you must now carry with you to ponder, to interpret, to live by. You feel a strange mix of relief and confusion. The truth has been spoken, but its meaning remains elusive. You thank the priest, make a further offering, and slowly, numbly make your way out of the temple. The bright sunlight outside feels harsh after the dimness of the Adaton. You blink, trying to reorient yourself, the sacred words still echoing in your mind, demanding contemplation. The journey back will be filled not just with the memories of your arduous travel, but with the weighty burden of Apollo's will, a profound, shocking whisper from the labyrinth of Delphi, now irrevocably woven into the tapestry of your life. The oracle has spoken, and your fate, however obscurely, has been revealed. Now it's up to you to understand it and to live it. Segment 3, The Dark Embrace of the Bog. Shift again now. Leave the sun-drenched mountains of Greece and plunge into the cold, desolate landscapes of Iron Age Northern Europe. The air here is damp and chill, perpetually clinging to your skin, seeping into your bones. The dominant scent is not incense or pine, but the rich, earthy tang of peat, decaying vegetation, and stagnant water. You are in a vast, sprawling bog, a landscape that is both beautiful in its starkness and profoundly menacing in its depths. This is not a place of comfort, but a place of dark, ancient power, where the veil between worlds feels thin and permeable. Tonight you are not a pilgrim nor a priest. You are a member of a small, tight-knit community, a clan living on the fringes of this unforgiving environment, where survival is a constant struggle against the elements and rival tribes. You've known hunger, you've known cold, you've known fear. And you understand the desperate measures required to appease the inscrutable forces that govern your world. This bog, seemingly lifeless, is in fact alive, a vast, hungry entity, and it demands its due. You stand with your clan on the edge of the peat bog, the ground soft and yielding beneath your roughly woven leather boots. The sky above is a canvas of swirling gray clouds, threatening rain, a constant companion in this land. The wind whistles mournfully through the reeds and sedges, creating a desolate symphony. Around you, the faces of your people are grim, resigned. This is a day of profound sorrow, but also of profound purpose. A young man stands before you, his skin pale, his eyes wide but surprisingly serene. He is not a warrior nor a criminal. He is an offering. Perhaps he was chosen by lot, a terrible lottery for the good of all. Perhaps he was a chieftain's son, willingly giving himself for his people's prosperity. Or perhaps, in a society ruled by omens and portents, he was simply marked by some unfortunate circumstance. A harvest failed, a sickness spread, a battle lost, and deemed the necessary sacrifice. You don't know his specific story, but you feel the weight of his destiny. He is bound, but not tightly, a rope around his neck, a simple noose that signifies his fate. His hands are free, however, a strange courtesy in this grim ritual. The elder of the clan, a man whose face is a roadmap of wrinkles and wisdom, begins a low chant. It's an ancient, guttural language, full of sounds that seem to echo the wind and the water. He speaks of the spirits of the bog, of the earth goddess, of the unseen forces that control the rhythm of the seasons, the fertility of the land, the health of the livestock. He speaks of the bargain being struck, of a precious life given in exchange for the continued existence of the community. You watch as the young man is led forward, his bare feet sinking slightly into the soft, wet earth. He does not struggle. He walks with a quiet dignity, a profound acceptance of his role. You can feel the chill of the bog air on your own skin, imagine the icy shock of the water awaiting him. The silence of the crowd is absolute, broken only by the elder's chant and the mournful cry of a distant bird. He stands at the edge of a deep, dark pool, a black mirror reflecting the gray sky. The water is still, impossibly dark, revealing nothing of its depth or its secrets. The elder places a ceremonial knife in the young man's hand. It is not for resistance, but for a final act of self-determination, a severing of the last mortal ties. He is offered a drink, perhaps a fermented ale, to dull the senses, to ease the transition. He takes it, his hand steady. Now the moment. The young man, with a quiet strength, steps into the bog. The water is shockingly cold, instantly numbing his skin, stealing his breath. You can almost feel that icy grip around your own ankles, rising up your legs, making your muscles clench. He wades deeper, the water rising past his knees, then his waist, his chest. He closes his eyes, perhaps offering a silent prayer of his own. The rope around his neck, held by the elder, keeps him from simply floating away, guides him towards his final resting place. As he reaches the designated spot, a place known to hold the deepest secrets of the bog, the elder signals. Two strong men step forward, their faces grim. They take hold of the young man, pushing him gently but firmly under the surface. You hear the faint splash, the momentary disturbance of the black water. Then silence. Only ripples. But the ritual isn't over. Not yet. This isn't a quick drowning. It's a deliberate, measured act. The men hold him down, using weighted branches, pushing his body deeper into the dark embrace of the peat. The idea is not just to kill him, but to keep him submerged, to allow the bog itself to become his tomb, to preserve him, to make him a lasting offering to the earth goddess. Peat bogs, as you might know from your modern world, are anaerobic environments, cold and acidic, perfect for preserving organic matter. And this is exactly what they intend. Minutes stretch into an eternity. You watch the surface of the water, waiting, watching for any sign of struggle, any last gasp. But there is nothing. The young man is gone, absorbed by the bog, a profound exchange completed. His spirit, they believe, is now free to join the ancestors, or perhaps to merge with the very essence of the earth itself, ensuring the prosperity of the clan. The bog has taken its offering. Now comes the final chilling touch. Sometimes stones are piled atop the submerged body. Sometimes stakes are driven through the body into the bog floor, pinning it forever in place. This is not necessarily an act of cruelty, but a ritualistic act to ensure the offering remains, to prevent the spirit from returning to trouble the living, or to guarantee the bog's continued acceptance. You hear the muffled thuds as the men drive the stakes, their faces devoid of emotion, their movements practiced. This is their way. This is their faith. As the sun finally dips below the horizon, painting the sky in somber hues of purple and gray, you turn away with the rest of your clan. The ritual is complete. The sacrifice has been made. You feel the cold seep deeper into your own clothes, your own skin. The memory of the young man's serene face, his quiet dignity, will stay with you, a chilling reminder of the profound cost of existence in this brutal, ancient world. You walk back to your rudimentary homes, the scent of peat and damp earth clinging to your clothes, the silence of the bog's dark embrace a stark, shocking echo in your heart. You've just witnessed not a murder but a profound, sacred act, a desperate plea to the unforgiving earth. Leave the biting cold of the bog, and let's transport ourselves now to the dense, humid embrace of the Amazonian rainforest. The air here is heavy with the scent of wet earth, decaying leaves, exotic flowers, and a myriad of unseen insects. The sounds are overwhelming, the cacophony of a million unseen creatures, the constant hum of insects, the chirping of birds, the rustle of leaves, the distant roar of a jaguar. You are far, far removed from anything resembling your modern world, deep within the territory of a people whose rituals challenge the most fundamental taboos of your society. You are a member of the Yanomami, a remote indigenous group living in the border regions of Venezuela and Brazil. Life here is communal, intimate, and often precarious, dictated by the rhythm of the forest, the abundance of its resources, and the constant threat of rival groups. Your connection to your family, to your clan, is absolute, and the spirit world is not a distant concept, but an ever-present reality that guides every aspect of your existence. Tonight, a profound ceremony is taking place within your shabono, the large, circular communal dwelling open to the sky in the center. The mood is somber, yet tinged with a strange, spiritual excitement. You have lost a loved one, a respected elder, perhaps your own father or mother, to a sudden sickness that swept through the village. The initial grief was raw, visceral, marked by wailing and lamentation. But now, months later, after the initial burial and the slow decomposition of the body, a second crucial stage of mourning is underway. The body, or what remains of it, has been exhumed. This is not an act of disrespect, but a necessary step towards the final release of the ancestor's spirit. The bones, carefully cleaned of any lingering flesh, are then ritually cremated. You stand by the crackling fire, feeling the heat on your face, watching the flames consume the last physical traces of your loved one. The smoke, thick with the scent of burning bone and wood, rises into the humid air, carrying prayers and tears. As the fire dies down, leaving behind a pile of ash and charred bone fragments, the most shocking part of the ritual begins. This is not about forgetting the dead, but about intimately remembering them, about incorporating their essence into the living, ensuring their spirit continues to thrive and guide the community. The remaining bone fragments are meticulously ground into a fine, gray powder. You can hear the rhythmic scraping of the grinding stones, a mournful sound that underlines the gravity of the moment. This powder, imbued with the very essence of your ancestor, is then mixed with a plantain soup, a staple of your diet. You watch as the soup is prepared, the vibrant green of the plantains contrasting with the gray ash. It looks like any other meal, yet it holds a profound and unsettling significance. This is the ultimate act of communion, a direct consumption of the deceased, an act known as endocannibalism. The elder, a man with wise, deep-set eyes, addresses the gathered community. He speaks of the importance of this ritual, how it allows the ancestor's spirit to ascend to Hikura, the spiritual realm, where they can continue to watch over and protect the living. He explains that if the body were left to decay in the ground, its spirit would be condemned to wander the earth, lost and restless, unable to find peace. This meal, though shocking to your modern sensibilities, is an act of profound love, a necessary rite of passage for the dead and the living alike. As the bowl of soup is passed around, you feel a knot of apprehension in your stomach. It's not fear of the act itself. You've seen this before, perhaps participated in it for other loved ones, but the deep emotional weight of it. You reach out, your hand trembling slightly, and take the bowl. The soup is warm, comforting, yet its contents are anything but. You can smell the plantain, the earthy taste of the ash. You raise the bowl to your lips. The first spoonful is difficult to swallow, not because of disgust, but because of the sheer emotional intensity. With each mouthful, you are not just consuming nourishment, you are consuming memory, grief, love, and the very essence of your ancestor. You feel their presence not as a haunting but as a comforting, empowering force within you. It is a strange, profound connection, a merging of life and death, of past and present. You taste the subtle grittiness of the bone fragments, the slight bitterness of the ash. Your modern mind might recoil, labeling this barbaric, unsanitary, horrific. But here, in the heart of the rainforest, it is sacred. It is an act of profound spiritual hygiene. It is believed that by consuming the ashes, the community literally absorbs the strength, wisdom, and spirit of the deceased, preventing their soul from being trapped in the decaying physical world. It ensures the continuity of the lineage, the communal spirit, the very fabric of your society. Around you, others eat in silence, their faces etched with a similar mix of sorrow and spiritual fulfillment. Some shed quiet tears as they consume their portion, remembering the one they lost. Others simply look upward, as if acknowledging the spirit now ascending, freed by this ultimate act of love and remembrance. The sounds of the jungle outside continue, indifferent to the profound human drama unfolding within the shabono. As the last spoonful is taken and the bowls are emptied, a sense of quiet peace descends. The elder offers a final prayer, thanking the ancestor for their life, and wishing them a safe journey to the spirit world. The immediate, intense grief begins to subside, replaced by a deeper, more enduring connection. You feel a strange lightness, a sense of having fulfilled a sacred duty. Your ancestor is not gone. They are now a part of you, literally, spiritually, guiding you from within and from the Hikura. You look around at your family, your community. You are bound by shared flesh, shared spirit, shared destiny. The memory of the meal, the gritty taste, the emotional weight, will stay with you, a testament to a ritual that, while shocking to outsiders, is the very bedrock of your understanding of life, death, and the enduring power of family in the vast ancient embrace of the Amazon. Now let's move from the communal and spiritual to the intensely personal and excruciatingly physical. Close your eyes and feel the cold, damp stone of a cave or the rough-hewn floor of a rudimentary shelter. The air is stale, thick with the smell of wood smoke, human sweat, and an underlying scent of fear. You are no longer in the Amazon, nor in Iron Age Europe. You are in a time far, far earlier, tens of thousands of years ago, or perhaps in a remote mountain village just a few centuries ago. This practice transcends cultures and ages, a testament to humanity's ancient desire to heal, and a shocking example of how they tried. You are a witness, or perhaps even the patient, lying still on the ground, your head pounding with an unbearable pressure. The source of this agony could be anything. A crushing headache that has lasted for days, a violent seizure that convulses your body, a fractured skull from a fall or a battle, or perhaps, most terrifyingly, an unseen evil spirit that has taken root within your very mind, driving you to madness. The shaman, the village healer, believes he knows the answer, and it is a terrifying one. You lie on a simple mat of animal hides, your body restrained by several strong villagers. Their faces are grim, their eyes fixed on you with a mixture of concern and fearful awe. They believe in the shaman's power, in his connection to the spirit world, but they also know the immense danger of the ritual about to unfold. Your heart races, a frantic drum against your ribs. Your body is rigid with fear, every muscle tensed, awaiting the pain. The shaman approaches. He is an old man, his face a roadmap of deep lines, his hands gnarled and strong. In his hands he holds not herbs or poultices but tools of stone and bone. A sharp flint knife, a crude obsidian scraper and a bone saw. Your breath catches in your throat. You know what he is about to do. He is going to open your skull. This is trepanation, one of the oldest and most shocking surgical procedures known to humanity. He begins with a purification ritual, chanting in a low, resonant voice, waving bundles of dried herbs whose smoke stings your nostrils and makes your eyes water. He calls upon ancestral spirits, upon benevolent gods to guide his hand, to protect you from the malevolent entities that plague your mind. You feel the cool touch of his hand on your forehead, a brief moment of calm before the storm. Then the first cut. Feel it now intensely. The sharp, searing pain as the flint knife slices through your scalp. There is no anesthetic, no numbing agent beyond the herbs and the sheer force of will. You gasp, your body arching against the restraints. Hot blood immediately wells up, running down your temple, soaking into your hair and the mat beneath you. You can feel the warmth, the stickiness. The smell of fresh blood, metallic and visceral, fills your senses, mingling with the herbal smoke. The shaman works with chilling efficiency, his movements precise, practiced over countless similar procedures. He peels back the scalp, exposing the bone of your skull. You hear the squelching sound, the horrible tearing of tissue. The sight, even if your eyes are closed, is vivid in your mind, your own flesh laid open. The pain is immense, a searing, throbbing agony that threatens to overwhelm your consciousness. You cry out, a raw, primal sound of anguish that echoes in the quiet space. Now comes the grinding. The shaman takes the obsidian scraper or the bone saw. Imagine the sensation, a slow, agonizing scraping, a grating sound as the tool begins to wear away at the bone. You feel the vibration through your entire head, a dizzying, sickening sensation. Each scrape, each turn of the crude drill, sends shockwaves of pain through your body. The smell of burning bone dust, faint but acrid, now joins the scent of blood. Hours might pass, or it might feel like an eternity. The shaman works with intense concentration, beads of sweat glistening on his brow. He must be careful not to slip, not to pierce too deeply, not to damage the delicate brain beneath. His skill is your only hope of survival. You hear the rhythmic scraping, the gritting sound of stone against bone, a sound that will forever be etched into your memory. As the hole deepens, the pressure in your head, the one that drove you to this desperate measure, might momentarily lessen. Or perhaps the pain from the procedure is so overwhelming that it eclipses all other sensations. You are dimly aware of the villagers murmuring prayers, their faces tight with concern. You might slip in and out of consciousness, your mind struggling to escape the agony. Finally, with a soft crack, the last sliver of bone gives way. A small, circular hole is now open in your skull. You feel a sudden jarring change in pressure, a rush of cool air against the exposed dura mater. This is it. The shaman has opened the secret door. If the problem was swelling, there might be a sudden release of fluid. If it was an evil spirit, he believes it now has a path to escape. He holds up the removed bone disc, a gruesome trophy, sometimes kept as an amulet. He then applies poultices of herbs to the wound, substances believed to prevent infection and promote healing. You feel the cool, soothing paste against the raw flesh and bone. The ritual isn't over yet, but the most agonizing part is done. Now begins the long, uncertain recovery. You will be kept warm, given nourishing broths, and watched closely. The pain will subside, slowly replaced by a dull ache. But the memory of the blade, the scrape, the raw exposure will forever be a part of you. Many would not survive this shocking procedure, succumbing to infection or complications. But if you do, if your body heals and your mind clears, you will be revered. You will be seen as one who has journeyed to the brink of death and returned, who has wrestled with the spirits and prevailed. You touch the bandage over your head, feeling the warmth of your own blood, the throb of the wound. You are alive. You are changed. The hole in your skull, once a source of terror, might become a mark of power, a testament to your resilience, and a chilling reminder of a time when the path to healing, to clarity, sometimes involved literally carving a secret door into your own skull. Now, leave the agony of ancient surgery and step into the arid, sun-baked landscape of ancient Egypt. The air here is dry and hot, carrying the fine dust of the desert, mingled with the sweet, pungent aroma of frankincense and myrrh. You are not among desperate, struggling communities, but in a civilization built on meticulous order, profound faith, and an obsessive dedication to the afterlife. Life here, while often harsh, is viewed as a prelude to an eternal existence, and the journey to that eternity is overseen by priests with chilling precision. You are in a dimly lit chamber within the vast necropolis of Saqqara, or perhaps the Valley of the Kings, surrounded by the hushed reverence of a place dedicated to death and rebirth. The sounds are muted, the rustle of linen, the soft clink of pottery, the low murmuring of ritualistic chants. You are not a living supplicant, nor a dying patient. You are a soul witnessing the ultimate transformation, or perhaps, you are an embalmer, a priest dedicated to guiding the dead into the golden embrace of the afterlife. Let's assume you are the embalmer, a guardian of the golden afterlife. Your hands, accustomed to the macabre work, are wrapped in linen, for both cleanliness and ritual purity. The air is thick with the sweet, heavy scent of natron salt, resin, cedar oil, and various aromatic spices. These are not merely perfumes. They are essential components of the elaborate process designed to defy decay, to preserve the physical vessel for the eternal journey. Before you lies the body of a nobleman, a man of power and wealth in his earthly life, now utterly still. His family, cloaked in robes of mourning, have left the initial ceremonies, entrusting their loved one to your sacred craft. Your task is immense, spanning 70 days, each step meticulously prescribed by tradition, by sacred texts, and by generations of accumulated knowledge. The first and perhaps most shocking step is the removal of the brain. Feel the strange sensation of your tool's long, thin bronze hooks, inserted through the nostril. This is done with careful, deliberate movements, aiming to penetrate the ethmoid bone at the base of the skull. You must be precise, avoid damaging the facial features which are crucial for the spirit, the ka, to recognize its body. As you gently agitate the brain tissue, you feel it break apart. Then you carefully withdraw the hooks, allowing the liquefied brain matter to drain out, a gruesome yet necessary act. The brain, to the ancient Egyptians, was not considered the seat of intelligence or emotion. It was simply waste, quickly decaying material that would compromise the preservation of the more vital organs. Next, the incision. With a sharp obsidian blade, you make a cut in the left flank of the body just below the rib cage. This is the opening to the abdominal cavity, the portal to the internal organs. Feel the resistance of the skin, the soft yielding of the muscle. You work quickly, expertly. The stench now intensifies, a visceral aroma of decay that even the powerful perfumes cannot entirely mask. This is the raw reality of death you confront daily. Now your hands plunge inside the body. You meticulously remove the internal organs, the stomach, intestines, liver, and lungs. Feel the soft, slippery texture of each organ, the precise way they fit within the cavity. Each is carefully cleaned, treated with palm wine and spices, and then placed into separate canopic jars, each jar representing one of the 4 sons of Horus, guardians of these vital parts. Only the heart remains, for it is believed to be the seat of intellect, emotion, and life force, essential for the judgment in the afterlife. It must remain within the body. Once the cavity is emptied, you begin the elaborate process of packing. The body is filled with natron salt, both inside the cavity and spread over the exterior. Feel the dry, gritty salt against your skin, its desiccating properties already at work. This is the true magic of mummification. The natron will slowly draw all moisture from the body, preventing bacterial decay, turning soft tissue into leather-like preservation. This process alone takes about 40 days, a long vigil. During these weeks, you diligently turn the body, inspect it, ensuring even drying. The smell of natron, mixed with the residual scent of the body, is your constant companion. You are acutely aware of the passage of time, of the weight of your responsibility. Each day, you are literally transforming a decaying corpse into an enduring vessel for eternity. As the body dries, its features shrink, the skin darkens and tightens over the bones. You begin to stuff the body, both the abdominal cavity and often the cheeks and eyes, with linen, sawdust, or even earth to restore a more lifelike appearance. You shape the limbs, carefully position the hands, preparing it for its final presentation. You might use melted resin or beeswax to further seal and preserve the skin, giving it a smooth, almost unnatural finish. Then comes the wrapping. This is a painstaking art form, requiring thousands of yards of fine linen bandages. Each finger, each toe, each limb is individually wrapped, layer upon layer, often with amulets and protective charms placed between the layers, imbued with spells and prayers to ward off evil and guide the spirit. Feel the soft texture of the linen, the intricate pattern you create with each pass. The process is slow, meditative, a final act of devotion to the deceased. As you wrap, you imagine the Book of the Dead spells being recited, the incantations whispering around you, breathing life and protection into the inert form. You are not just wrapping a body, you are wrapping a sacred scroll, a living prayer, a vessel for a soul's eternal journey. You might apply warm resin over the finished layers, sealing them, creating a hard, protective shell. Finally, after 70 days, the mummy is complete. It lies before you, a serene, preserved form resembling not death, but a profound sleep. It is adorned with a painted portrait mask, often depicting the idealized features of the deceased, allowing the Ka to recognize its dwelling. The scent in the chamber is now predominantly sweet and resinous, a fragrant testament to your success. You stand back, feeling the quiet satisfaction of a job well done. You have fulfilled your sacred duty, transforming a decaying body into a timeless monument. You have played a crucial role in ensuring the nobleman's successful passage into the field of reeds, his golden afterlife. You have faced the grim reality of death, wrestled with decay, and through ritual and skill, achieved a profound victory. This shocking, complex, and deeply spiritual ritual is not just about embalming. It is about the ultimate act of faith, a desperate, meticulous attempt to cheat death itself, transforming the deceased into guardians of the golden afterlife. Let's leave the ordered, spiritual world of ancient Egypt and plunge into the dense, humid jungle of the Yucatan Peninsula, where the vibrant civilization of the Maya flourished. The air here is heavy and thick, redolent with the smell of rich earth, lush vegetation, and the distant, unseen presence of the vast, complex roots of an ancient religion. You are in Chichen Itza, one of the greatest Mayan cities, and your destination is a place of profound mystery and terrifying reverence, the sacred cenote. You are a Maya commoner, perhaps a farmer whose crops are failing, or a parent whose child is gravely ill. You have traveled with your family and neighbors to this sacred site, drawn by desperate hope and profound fear. The sounds of the jungle are a constant backdrop. The calls of exotic birds, the chirping of insects, the rustle of unseen creatures in the undergrowth. But here within the city the sounds are different. The murmur of a vast crowd, the distant chanting of priests, and the rhythmic beat of drums that seem to vibrate through the very ground beneath your bare feet. The city itself is a marvel, its towering pyramids and elaborate temples reaching towards the sky, covered in intricate carvings that tell stories of gods, kings, and the cyclical nature of time. The great ball court stands silent today, but its walls echo with the memory of brutal games where victory and sacrifice were often intertwined. But your focus, and the focus of the entire community gathered today, is on the cenote, the natural well, a gaping maw in the earth filled with cool, dark water. You approach the cenote along a wide, paved causeway, the Sakbi. The sun, a burning eye in the vast blue sky, beats down, making the sweat trickle down your back. As you draw closer, the sheer scale of the cenote becomes apparent. It's an enormous, circular sinkhole, over 60 meters in diameter, with sheer limestone cliffs plunging dozens of meters down to the water's surface. Lush vegetation clings to the cliff faces, creating a verdant, almost otherworldly spectacle. But it is not its beauty that commands your attention, it is its profound spiritual significance. This is the mouth of the underworld, Xibalba, the dwelling place of the rain god Chak and many other powerful deities. It is the source of life-giving water in this dry land, and thus the ultimate portal for communication with the gods. And today the gods are angry. The rains have not come. The crops wither. The children sicken. And a desperate plea must be made. You stand with the throng on the viewing platform above the cenote, jostling for a better view. The air is thick with anticipation, with the scent of copal incense burning in numerous censers, its sweet smoke rising into the humid air, carrying prayers to the heavens and down into the watery depths. Priests, adorned in elaborate feather headdresses and painted robes, move with solemn gravity, their faces stern and focused. Below, on a small platform near the water's edge, objects are being gathered. These are the offerings: precious jade, gleaming gold and copper ornaments, intricately carved obsidian, fine pottery and rare shells. They gleam in the sunlight, glittering against the dark water, silent promises of devotion. You watch as the priests ritually bless each item, uttering ancient chants that invoke the gods of rain and fertility. Then the focus shifts, not to an object but to a life. Today the gods demand more than material wealth. They demand the most precious offering of all. A young person, perhaps a maiden, perhaps a captured warrior, stands at the edge of the cliff. Their body is adorned with precious jewelry, their hair braided with flowers. Their eyes, wide with a mixture of terror and resignation, reflect the vast blue sky above and the dark, watery abyss below. They are an offering to Chak, a human vessel carrying the desperate prayers of an entire people. You can feel the collective gasp, the sudden intake of breath from the thousands gathered around you. The drums, which had been a low thrum, now beat a frantic, accelerating rhythm, echoing the frantic throb of your own heart. The chanting intensifies, becoming a powerful, hypnotic wave of sound that seems to vibrate through the very air. The young person is led to the very edge of the cliff. They do not resist. Their fate was decided long ago, perhaps by prophecy, perhaps by lot, perhaps by the will of the king. They are a sacrifice, a bridge between the mortal and the divine, a desperate hope for rain, for life, for the survival of the Maya. With a final chant, a powerful invocation from the high priest, the young offering steps, or is gently pushed, into the void. Hear the sound now. The sudden, swift plunge. The splash, a shockingly loud sound that reverberates off the cliff walls, echoing across the cenote. Then silence. A profound, unsettling silence, broken only by the distant sounds of the jungle and the continued rhythmic beat of the drums. You strain your eyes trying to catch a glimpse, but the water quickly stills, swallowing the offering whole. The precious jewelry, the flowers, the human form, all vanish into the dark depths. It is said that some might have been rescued hours later if they survived, their pronouncements from Xibalba deemed sacred prophecies. But most, do not return. They become one with the cenote, one with the gods. As the sun begins its slow descent, casting long dramatic shadows across the pyramid of Kukulkan, a sense of grim relief settles over the crowd. The offering has been made. The desperate prayer has been sent. Now they must wait. Wait for the clouds to gather, for the distant rumble of thunder, for the life-giving rain to fall. You turn to leave with your community, the image of the young person plunging into the cenote forever etched into your memory. The echoes of the splash, the solemn chants, the scent of copal, and the desperate hope for rain will accompany you back to your village. You have witnessed not a simple act of violence, but a profound act of faith, a desperate, shocking bargain struck with the gods of the underworld, echoing in the sacred cenote. Now let's leave the ancient Americas and travel across vast oceans, to the lush, volcanic islands of Fiji, where another astonishing and shocking ritual awaits you. The air here is warm, humid, and carries the scent of salt from the ocean, tropical flowers, and a faint, acrid smell of wood smoke and heated stone. You are in a small, traditional Fijian village, nestled amongst swaying palm trees and vibrant hibiscus bushes. The sounds are a melodic symphony of crashing waves, singing birds, and the rhythmic thud of drums that seems to permeate the very ground. You are a visitor, an outsider from the modern world, privileged to witness a ceremony that defies logic, a ritual of immense spiritual power that will challenge your understanding of what the human body can endure. This is Vilavilarivo, the legendary firewalking ritual of the Bika Islanders, a practice passed down through generations, shrouded in ancient taboos and profound faith. You stand with the villagers, a respectful distance from the central arena where the ritual is about to begin. The ground beneath your feet is bare earth, trodden smooth by countless ceremonies. The sun is high, bright, and intensely hot. But the heat you feel now is nothing compared to what is about to be unleashed. Your eyes are drawn to the pit in the center, a large, shallow excavation, perhaps 20 feet in diameter, filled with glowing volcanic stones. 4 hours, the Vilavilarivo firewalkers, all men from the specific priestly clan known as Buritu, have been preparing the pit. They built a towering bonfire of massive logs, allowing it to burn down, superheating the volcanic rocks beneath. You can feel the intense radiant heat even from where you stand, a palpable force that makes your skin prickle and your eyes water. The air above the pit shimmers and distorts like water. The smell of burning wood, hot stone, and smoke is overwhelming. The villagers, dressed in traditional woven skirts and adorned with flowers, are gathered in a hushed semicircle around the pit. Their faces are a mix of awe, reverence, and profound faith. They believe in the power of the Tuanai Viikesalagi, the fire-walking god, who protects the Buritu from the flames as long as ancient taboos are observed. For 10 days leading up to the ceremony, the Buritu men observe strict rules. No contact with women, no eating coconuts, no working in the gardens. Any transgression, they believe, would result in immediate agonizing burns. The priest, or Bet, a man of imposing presence and serene demeanor, begins a slow, rhythmic chant. His voice is deep, resonant, invoking the spirits of their ancestors, asking for protection and guidance. Other men, the meek singers, join in, their voices rising in a powerful ancient song that speaks of their lineage, their power, and their sacred connection to the fire. The drums, which have been steadily beating, now intensify, a powerful hypnotic rhythm that seems to synchronize with your own heartbeat. You watch as the Buritu men, clad in simple bark-cloth skirts of white and red, approach the pit. Their faces are calm, almost meditative, showing no sign of fear, only resolute determination. Their feet are bare, unmarked. They pause at the edge, offering a silent prayer, a deep bow to the sacred fire. The heat is almost unbearable now, making your throat dry and your eyes sting. You instinctively take a step back, but your gaze remains fixed, unable to turn away from the raw power radiating from the stones. With a signal from the Bet, the first man steps onto the glowing rocks. Feel the shock now. Imagine that first step. Your modern mind screams, *impossible. He will be burned alive. But he walks. Slowly, deliberately, he walks across the intensely hot stones. You hear the faint hiss as the moisture from his feet touches the superheated rock, but there is no scream of pain, no frantic dash. His face remains serene, his movements measured. The air fills with the smell of scorched earth, but not of burning flesh. It is a profound, shocking mystery. You can see the heat radiating from the stones, feel it yourself from a distance, yet these men walk upon them as if on cool sand. One by one, the other Burrito men follow, stepping onto the fiery path, their bare feet seemingly impervious to the unimaginable temperatures. Some even pause, standing in the center of the pit for a moment, their hands clasped in prayer, offering their devotion to the fire god. You can almost feel the heat radiating up through their feet. Imagine the blistering agony that your own modern body would endure. But they show no discomfort. Is it faith? Is it a unique physical adaptation? Is it some ancient secret, a herbal preparation, a mental discipline so profound it overrides the body's natural pain response? Whatever it is profoundly shocking to witness. The chanting and drumming intensify, reaching a fever pitch as the men complete their walk, emerging from the pit on the other side. They show no signs of injury, no blisters, no burns. Their feet are unmarked, a testament to the power of their belief, to the protection of their God. You watch, utterly spellbound, your logical mind struggling to reconcile what your eyes are seeing with what you know to be physically possible. As the ceremony concludes, the Burrito men are greeted with quiet reverence by their community. There is no triumphant boasting, just a calm acknowledgement of a sacred duty fulfilled, a demonstration of spiritual power and a bond with their ancestors. The pit, still glowing with heat, will slowly cool, becoming just another part of the earth, until the next ceremony. You stand there, a silence descending over the village, punctuated only by the ocean waves and the rustling palms. Your skin still tingles from the radiant heat, your mind reeling from the sight of bare feet walking on fire. You have witnessed a profound act of faith, a living link to an ancient past, a shocking display of human resilience and belief that defies all modern explanation. The firewalkers of Fiji have shown you that in some cultures, the boundaries of pain and possibility are defined not by science, but by the immutable power of the spirit. Now, let's leave the humid warmth of Fiji and transport ourselves to the rugged, sun-baked plains of ancient Sparta. The air here is dry and dusty, carrying the scent of olive groves, dry earth, and the underlying tang of sweat, discipline, and grim determination. You are not a visitor nor a supplicant. You are a Spartan boy, born into a society utterly dedicated to the forging of warriors, a civilization that will shock your modern sensibilities with its relentless, brutal focus on strength, endurance, and absolute obedience. Your journey, the Agoge, begins now. You are 7 years old. Your soft, childish comforts are ripped away. No more the gentle embrace of your mother, the warmth of your hearth. You are taken from your family not by force, but by the unyielding law of the state. You are now property of Sparta, destined to be molded into an unbreakable soldier. You look at the other boys, their faces a mixture of fear and bravado. Some are crying silently. You swallow the lump in your throat, trying to appear as stoic as the older boys. Your new home is the Agila, the herd, a communal barracks where you will live, train, and sleep for the next 12 years of your life. The barracks are Spartan in every sense of the word. Bare stone walls, hard wooden sleeping platforms, no luxuries. The air is cold at night, hot during the day. The food is meager, designed not to nourish fully, but to keep you perpetually hungry, always driving you to seek more, to be resourceful. The training begins immediately. It is relentless, designed to strip away all weakness, all individuality, all softness. You are taught to fight, not just with weapons but with your bare hands, with your teeth. You learn wrestling, boxing, running, jumping, all practiced under the unforgiving gaze of older boys and the strict paedonomos, the official overseer. Every day is a test, every moment a lesson in endurance. You learn to read and write, but only enough to understand orders and simple messages. Your true education is physical, tactical, and moral, focused on courage, discipline, and the glory of Sparta. You are taught to speak succinctly, pithily, with the characteristic Spartan laconic style, valuing action over words. Unnecessary chatter is punished. Punishment is constant, often brutal. Feel the sting of the whip, the sharp pain of a fist, the humiliation of public chastisement. These are not acts of cruelty for cruelty's sake, but deliberate tools to harden you, to instill obedience, to teach you to endure pain without complaint. You learn quickly that weakness draws punishment and silence, stoicism, is your best defense. You learn to never show fear, never to show pain, for that would make you vulnerable. The hunger is a constant companion. Your rations are deliberately insufficient. This is not to starve you but to teach you cunning, to force you to steal. You are encouraged to raid gardens, to hunt small game. If you are caught, you are not punished for the theft itself, but for your sloppiness, for your failure to be stealthy. Imagine the gnawing emptiness in your stomach, the constant search for food, the thrill of a successful raid, the fear of being discovered. This teaches you resourcefulness, stealth, and audacity, vital skills for a warrior. At the age of 12, the egoge intensifies further. You are now an iron, an older boy, and you are given responsibility over younger recruits. You become both a leader and a disciplinarian, further solidifying the chain of command, the absolute deference to authority. Your clothing is minimal, usually a single cloak, even in winter. You sleep on beds of reeds, which you must cut yourself from the Eurotas River. Your body is constantly exposed to the elements, toughening your skin, preparing you for the rigors of campaign. You are expected to fight your peers, to engage in ritualized combat, sometimes to the point of drawing blood. This is not hatred, but a way to hone your skills, to learn aggression, to understand pain and fear in a controlled environment. You learn to push past your limits, to endure the blows, to give them back with equal ferocity. The noise of these fights, the grunts, the shouts, the thud of bodies, becomes a familiar symphony. One of the most shocking aspects of the egoge is the cryptia, a secret, brutal training ritual. You, as a young iron, are sent out into the countryside, armed with only a dagger, with orders to survive by your wits and to kill any helots, the enslaved population of Sparta, you encounter after dark. This is not just a test of survival skills, it is a deliberate act of terror and social control, designed to instill fear in the helots and to blood you, making you accustomed to killing. Imagine the fear of being alone in the wilderness, the chilling order to hunt down another human being, the profound psychological impact of such an act. This is the brutal side of Sparta, a dark secret that ensured their dominance over a vast enslaved population. You learn to live with pain, with hunger, with fear, but above all, you learn camaraderie. The boys of your Agila become your brothers, your true family. You share every hardship, every triumph, every punishment. This bond, forged in the crucible of the egoge, will be stronger than any other, a foundation for the unbreakable unit of the Spartan phalanx. You fight for each other, you protect each other, you would die for each other without hesitation. Finally, at the age of 20, after 13 years of unrelenting training, you graduate from the egoge. You are now a full citizen, a homoios, an equal. You are a Spartan warrior, arguably the finest soldier the ancient world has ever seen. Your body is a finely tuned machine, hardened by years of privation and struggle. Your mind is disciplined, focused, utterly loyal to Sparta. You have endured physical torment, psychological manipulation, and shocking acts of violence. You stand tall, your gaze steady, your physique honed to perfection. You have shed the softness of childhood, transcending the ordinary limitations of humanity. The scars on your body are not blemishes, but badges of honor, testament to your endurance. You are ready for war, ready to defend Sparta to your last breath. The egoge has transformed you, through shocking, brutal, and relentless means, into a weapon, a testament to the ultimate dedication of a society to the ideal of the warrior. Your journey has been a testament to human resilience, and a chilling reminder of the price of power and perfection in the ancient world. Let's transition now from the disciplined, state-sponsored brutality of Sparta to a more primal, individual, and deeply spiritual form of violence, across a vast geographical and temporal landscape. Imagine yourself not in a structured army, but in a tribal society, perhaps in the jungles of Borneo with the Dayak, or the mountains of Nagaland, or even the Amazon. The air is thick with the smell of damp earth, lush vegetation, wood smoke, and a profound sense of tribal rivalry and constant vigilance. You are a warrior, and your greatest trophy, your ultimate proof of prowess and spiritual power, is the head of your enemy. This is the shocking, visceral world of headhunting. You are a young man eager to prove your worth to your tribe, to earn your place among the revered warriors. You have learned the ways of the jungle, the stealth of a predator, the swiftness of an ambush. You have practiced with your mandao, your long, intricately carved sword, or with your spear or your bow. But to truly become a man, to be worthy of marriage, to ensure the fertility of your land and the prosperity of your people, you must undertake the kaya, the headhunting raid. The night before the raid is filled with rituals. You sit with your fellow warriors in the communal longhouse, the flickering firelight casting dancing shadows on the tattooed faces around you. The shaman or medicine man chants ancient incantations, invoking the spirits of the ancestors, asking for success, for protection, for courage. You smell the pungent smoke of various herbs, the earthy scent of ceremonial oils rubbed onto your skin. You feel the weight of expectation from your community, the hope for good fortune that your raid will bring. You embark at dawn, a small, silent party moving stealthily through the dense jungle. The air is cool and damp, giving way to oppressive humidity as the sun climbs higher. You move like shadows, your senses heightened, every snap of a twig, every call of a bird, a potential warning. You are tracking a rival village or a lone traveler from an enemy clan. This is not about conquest of land, it is about spiritual power, about balancing the cosmic scales, about vengeance, and about proving your masculinity. Hours of intense, silent tracking pass. Your muscles ache, your eyes scan every shadow. Your heart beats a steady rhythm, but a knot of anticipation tightens in your stomach. You know the danger. Many warriors do not return from a kaya. But the rewards, both spiritual and social, are immense. A man who brings a head back is a hero, a provider of vitality for his village. Suddenly a sign. A faint trail, a broken branch, a discarded item. You are close. Your leader signals for absolute silence. You unsheath your weapon, the mandao sliding from its scabbard with a soft hiss. The feel of the polished hardwood hilt, the razor-sharp edge of the blade, is reassuring. You creep forward, your senses overwhelmed by the smells of the jungle, but now heightened to detect the faintest scent of human presence, the subtle shift in the air that indicates a dwelling. You find the target, a lone hut, perhaps, or a small group tending a clearing. The element of surprise is paramount. With a primal yell, a terrifying war cry that rips through the quiet jungle, you and your fellow warriors launch your attack. Feel the surge of adrenaline now, the raw, exhilarating rush of the charge. The shock of the enemy, the brief struggle, the clash of weapons, the guttural sounds of combat. Your target is quickly subdued. This is not a drawn-out battle. The goal is clear, precise. With a swift, practiced movement you raise your mandao. The moment of impact is visceral, the severing of neck bone and sinew. You feel the spray of blood, warm and sticky, on your hands, on your face. The head, disconnected from its body, is quickly secured. This is not just a gruesome trophy. It is believed to contain the very soul, the life force, the spiritual essence of the enemy. The quick retreat is as important as the attack. You must vanish before reinforcements arrive. You move back through the jungle, the severed head carefully carried, wrapped in leaves, a profound and shocking prize. The journey back is filled with a different kind of tension. The excitement of victory, the anticipation of the celebratory rituals, but also the lingering danger of pursuit. Upon your return to the village, you are greeted with joyous shouts and celebratory dances. The women sing songs of praise. The drums beat a triumphant rhythm. The air is electric with excitement. The severed head is presented, not with disgust but with reverence. It is a symbol of power, of fertility, of success in battle. Now begin the rituals of purification and transformation. The head is carefully cleaned, often boiled, to remove the flesh. This is not a macabre act for its own sake, but a necessary step to transform the raw trophy into a sacred object. You might participate in a ritual feast, symbolically sharing in the power of your vanquished foe. Then the head is typically smoke-dried over a slow fire. Feel the heat of the fire, smell the acrid scent of smoke, mingling with the lingering odor of the head. This shrinking process is meticulously performed, sometimes over weeks, to preserve the head, to imbue it with further spiritual potency. The eye sockets might be filled with shells, the mouth sewn shut with fibrous twine, preventing the spirit from escaping and causing mischief. The shrunken head, now a grotesque yet powerful object, is adorned with beads, feathers, and other decorations, transforming it into a sacred talisman. You, the warrior who brought back the head, are now celebrated. You are given a new status, perhaps allowed to wear special tattoos, to adorn your home with the skull, or to partake in rituals previously denied to you. You are seen as a man who has demonstrated courage, skill, and has brought vital spiritual power to your community. The head, displayed in the longhouse or in your own home, acts as a guardian, a source of spiritual energy for the crops, for hunting, for the health of the village. You look at the shrunken head, its features distorted yet still recognizable. It is a stark, shocking reminder of the brutal realities of ancient tribal warfare, of a world where the power of an enemy was not just defeated, but literally consumed, incorporated, and harnessed for the good of your own people. The grim harvest of heads is a testament to the profound and terrifying belief in the spiritual power of the human body, an ultimate trophy in a world far removed from your own. Let's leave the visceral thrill of head hunting and plunge into the darkest, most desperate corners of ancient religious practice. We travel now to the arid, unforgiving lands of the ancient Near East, to the Canaanite city-states, where the air is hot and dusty, thick with the scent of sacrifice, but a sacrifice of a profoundly disturbing nature. You are not a warrior nor a priest. You are a common citizen, a parent, living under the shadow of a terrifying deity, and witnessing a ritual that will chill you to your very core. The god in question is Moloch, or sometimes Baal-Hamon, a deity whose worship was marked by one of the most shocking and controversial practices in human history: child sacrifice. Forget the romanticized images of ancient civilizations. Here, under the harsh sun, a desperate people made the ultimate offering, driven by fear, by despair, and by an unyielding faith in a god whose demands were absolute. You stand on the outskirts of a sacred precinct, a tophet, a place specifically designated for these grim ceremonies. The structure is imposing, often a large, bronze statue or altar dedicated to Moloch, depicted with the head of a bull and human body, its arms outstretched. The interior of the statue might be hollow, designed to be heated by an internal fire. The air is thick with the acrid smell of burning flesh, wood smoke, and a profound, palpable sense of dread. The sky above is a deep, unforgiving blue, indifferent to the human tragedy unfolding below. The sounds are agonizing. A low, rhythmic drumming, perhaps played to drown out the cries. The wailing of distraught mothers, the guttural chants of priests, and the chilling silence that follows each horrifying act. You are here not by choice but by communal obligation, by terror, by a desperate hope that this ultimate sacrifice will avert a greater catastrophe: famine, plague, war, or the wrath of Moloch himself. Before you, families stand, their faces contorted with grief and despair. A young couple holds their infant, their most precious possession, the fruit of their love, now destined for a horrifying end. Perhaps it is their firstborn, deemed the most potent offering. Perhaps their community is under siege, and only this ultimate act of appeasement can save them. Imagine the wrenching choice, the moral agony, the profound psychological torment of making such a decision. In your modern world, this is unthinkable, an abomination. In theirs, it is a terrifying necessity. The priests of Moloch, robed in dark garments, their faces stern and unyielding, move with grim purpose. They guide the families, offering words of encouragement, reminding them of the sacred duty, the immense power of this offering. They speak of Moloch's terrible hunger, his capacity for both destruction and salvation. This is not casual cruelty, it is a profound, albeit horrifying, act of faith, a desperate bargain with a formidable, terrifying God. The fire within the bronze statue's belly is stoked, casting an infernal glow on the statue's outstretched hands, hands that resemble a grisly cradle. You can feel the intense heat radiating from the idol, a physical manifestation of the god's consuming presence. The air grows heavier, more oppressive. The drums beat faster, louder, a frantic rhythm that seems to drive out all other thought, all other sound. You watch, your stomach churning, your breath caught in your throat as the first family approaches the altar. The mother clutches her infant, her body shaking uncontrollably. The father, his face a mask of agony, gently takes the child from her arms. This is the moment of ultimate surrender, of profound despair. With a final heart-wrenching sob, the child is placed onto the outstretched, superheated hands of the bronze god. You hear the sickening sizzle, the sudden sharp cry that is swiftly muffled by the roar of the fire and the frantic beating of the drums. The smell of burning flesh, sweet and acrid, now becomes overwhelming, burning your nostrils, searing itself into your memory. The parents stand motionless, their eyes fixed on the horrifying spectacle, their faces numb with grief and trauma. This is their offering. This is their plea. They believe that by sacrificing their most precious possession, they are ensuring the survival of their remaining children, the prosperity of their family, the very existence of their community. In their minds, the horror of this act is outweighed by the even greater horror of divine wrath and collective annihilation. One by one, other families approach. The rhythmic thud of the drums, the wailing of the mothers, the chilling cries that are swiftly silenced, it becomes a horrifying procession. You feel a profound sense of helplessness, of outrage, but you are part of this community. To question, to resist, would be to invite the wrath of Moloch upon yourself, upon your own family. You must bear witness, you must endure the trauma, and you must pray that your neighbor's sacrifices are enough to appease the hungry God. As the sun begins to set, casting long crimson shadows across the Tophet, the fires eventually die down. The air remains heavy with the stench of death, a lingering reminder of the profound and shocking ritual you have witnessed. The parents return to their homes empty-handed, but with the terrifying hope that their sacrifice has been accepted, that their future, however grim, has been secured. You walk away from the Tophet, the image of the bronze god, the wailing mothers, and the terrible cries etched forever into your mind. You have seen humanity pushed to its absolute breaking point, making the most desperate, shocking, and profoundly agonizing offering imaginable. Under the shadow of Moloch, life was cheap, and the price of survival was sometimes paid in the most innocent of blood. Now let's abandon the grim, disciplined sacrifices of the Near East and plunge into a completely different kind of ancient ritual, one of frenzied ecstasy, wild abandon, and primal release. We transport ourselves to the moonlit forests and remote mountain slopes of ancient Greece, far from the ordered temples of Apollo and the structured life of the city-states. The air here is cool and crisp, carrying the scent of pine, damp earth, and something else, the intoxicating aroma of wine, sweat, and unbridled passion. You are about to enter the shocking, bewildering world of the Dionysian mysteries. You are a woman, perhaps a frustrated housewife, a rigid matron, or a curious maiden, drawn by whispers of a secret cult, a forbidden freedom. Life in ancient Greece, especially for women, is often one of severe restrictions, domestic duties, and societal expectations. But for tonight, under the cloak of darkness and the influence of Dionysus, the god of wine, revelry, and madness, all boundaries are shattered. You have gathered with other women, the Maenads or Bacchantes, on the outskirts of the city, away from the prying eyes of men. The atmosphere is already charged with a nervous excitement, a sense of rebellion. You are dressed in simple animal skins, perhaps fawn pelts, a stark contrast to your usual demure chiton. In your hand you carry a thyrsus, a staff entwined with ivy and topped with a pine cone, the sacred symbol of Dionysus. As you trek deeper into the wilderness, the sounds of the city fade, replaced by the rustle of leaves, the hoot of an owl, and the low, murmuring chants of the women around you. You can smell the rich, earthy scent of the forest, mingled now with the sharp, sweet aroma of wine being passed around. You take a deep draught, feeling the warmth spread through your veins, loosening your inhibitions, igniting a spark of daring within you. The moon, a pale orb in the ink-black sky, casts dappled shadows through the trees. The air grows cooler as you climb higher into the hills. The wine flows freely, its intoxicating effects beginning to take hold. You feel a lightness in your limbs, a loosening of your tongue. You begin to dance, at first hesitantly, then with growing abandon, your movements becoming more fluid, more primal. The music begins, the shrill, piercing notes of the aulos, a double reed pipe, the clash of cymbals, the rhythmic thump of drums. It's a wild, insistent music that bypasses your intellect and speaks directly to your body, to your deepest, most suppressed desires. You feel an energy building, a collective hysteria, a profound sense of shared liberation. You join the swirling dance, your hair unbound, your head thrown back, a wild cry escaping your lips. The boundaries of self begin to blur. You are no longer just you are part of something larger, a collective entity, a single, ecstatic body moving in unison. The ancient Greeks called this ecstasis, standing outside oneself, a trance-like state where the mortal touches the divine. The revelry intensifies. The shouts become screams, the dances become frenzied leaps and twists. You run through the forest, the cool night air rushing past your face, your senses alive with the thrill of motion, of freedom. You tear at plants, ripping leaves and branches, feeling a surge of raw, untamed power. The wine has stripped away your inhibitions, your societal conditioning, revealing a primal self you never knew existed. And then the shocking culmination, the sparagmos and amophagia. In the height of their Dionysian frenzy, the Maenads are said to tear apart live animals with their bare hands, a fawn, a goat, a bullock, consuming the raw flesh and drinking the blood. This is not for sustenance, but a ritualistic act of communion with Dionysus, a symbolic absorption of the god's untamed, wild essence. Imagine the scene now vividly. You are caught in the throes of this collective madness. A small animal, perhaps a terrified fawn, is brought forth. Its bleating is quickly drowned out by the screams of the Maenads. You see hands, strong and fueled by divine madness, descend upon it. You hear the tearing of flesh, the snapping of bone. The smell of fresh blood, warm and visceral, fills the air, mingling with the wine and sweat. You might participate, your hands plunged into the warm, still quivering flesh, feeling the raw power of the act. You might tear off a piece, its meat still pulsing with life, and bring it to your lips. The taste is gamey, primal, shockingly real. It is an act of profound taboos being shattered, a complete surrender to the wild, instinctual forces of nature. You are no longer a demure Greek woman. You are a creature of the forest, a vessel for divine madness. As the frenzy slowly subsides, and the first faint light of dawn streaks across the eastern sky, a profound sense of exhaustion washes over you. Your body aches, your throat is raw from screaming, your mind is hazy with the aftereffects of wine and ecstasy. But there is also a strange, exhilarating clarity. You have touched the divine. You have transcended the mundane. You have experienced a freedom, a raw power, that the structured world denies you. You gather with the other women, their faces now peaceful, though still marked by the lingering wildness in their eyes. You return to the city, moving silently, secretly, back to your domestic lives, carrying with you the shocking memory of the Dionysian rites. The wine, the music, the frenzied dance, the tearing of flesh, all these have profoundly altered you. You are forever changed, having experienced the raw, untamed power of a god, a shocking glimpse into the wild heart of ancient religious devotion, a glimpse of the untamed, primal self lurking beneath the surface of civilization. Let's leave the ecstatic frenzy of Dionysus and journey to a world where divine connection is sought not through wine and revelry, but through an even more terrifying and direct communion with dangerous forces. We travel now to various ancient cultures, perhaps the Minoans, the Egyptians, or certain remote pockets of tribal societies that continued this practice for centuries, where serpents were revered, feared, and handled in rituals that would utterly shock your modern sensibilities. The air might be dry and dusty or humid and tropical, but it always carries an underlying tension, the coiled thread of imminent danger and the pungent smell of fear. You, the warrior who brought back the head, are now celebrated. You are given a new status, perhaps allowed to wear special tattoos, to adorn your home with the skull, or to partake in rituals previously denied to you. You are seen as a man who has demonstrated courage, skill, and has brought vital spiritual power to your community. The head, displayed in the longhouse or in your own home, acts as a guardian, a source of spiritual energy for the crops, for hunting, for the health of the village. You look at the shrunken head, its features distorted yet still recognizable. It is a stark, shocking reminder of the brutal realities of ancient tribal warfare, of a world where the power of an enemy was not just defeated, but literally consumed, incorporated, and harnessed for the good of your own people. The grim harvest of heads is a testament to the profound and terrifying belief in the spiritual power of the human body, an ultimate trophy in a world far removed from your own. Let's leave the visceral thrill of head hunting and plunge into the darkest, most desperate corners of ancient religious practice. We travel now to the arid, unforgiving lands of the ancient Near East, to the Canaanite city-states, where the air is hot and dusty, thick with the scent of sacrifice, but a sacrifice of a profoundly disturbing nature. You are not a warrior nor a priest. You are a common citizen, a parent, living under the shadow of a terrifying deity, and witnessing a ritual that will chill you to your very core. The god in question is Moloch, or sometimes Baal-Hamon, a deity whose worship was marked by one of the most shocking and controversial practices in human history: child sacrifice. Forget the romanticized images of ancient civilizations. Here, under the harsh sun, a desperate people made the ultimate offering, driven by fear, by despair, and by an unyielding faith in a God whose demands were absolute. You stand on the outskirts of a sacred precinct, a Tophet, a place specifically designated for these grim ceremonies. The structure is imposing, often a large, bronze statue or altar dedicated to Moloch, depicted with the head of a bull and human body, its arms outstretched. The interior of the statue might be hollow, designed to be heated by an internal fire. The air is thick with the acrid smell of burning flesh, wood smoke, and a profound, palpable sense of dread. The sky above is a deep, unforgiving blue, indifferent to the human tragedy unfolding below. The sounds are agonizing. A low, rhythmic drumming, perhaps played to drown out the cries. The wailing of distraught mothers, the guttural chants of priests, and the chilling silence that follows each horrifying act. You are here not by choice but by communal obligation, by terror, by a desperate hope that this ultimate sacrifice will avert a greater catastrophe: famine, plague, war, or the wrath of Moloch himself. Before you, families stand, their faces contorted with grief and despair. A young couple holds their infant, their most precious possession, the fruit of their love, now destined for a horrifying end. Perhaps it is their firstborn, deemed the most potent offering. Perhaps their community is under siege, and only this ultimate act of appeasement can save them. Imagine the wrenching choice, the moral agony, the profound psychological torment of making such a decision. In your modern world, this is unthinkable, an abomination. In theirs, it is a terrifying necessity. The priests of Moloch, robed in dark garments, their faces stern and unyielding, move with grim purpose. They guide the families, offering words of encouragement, reminding them of the sacred duty, the immense power of this offering. They speak of Moloch's terrible hunger, his capacity for both destruction and salvation. This is not casual cruelty, it is a profound, albeit horrifying, act of faith, a desperate bargain with a formidable, terrifying God. The fire within the bronze statue's belly is stoked, casting an infernal glow on the statue's outstretched hands, hands that resemble a grisly cradle. You can feel the intense heat radiating from the idol, a physical manifestation of the god's consuming presence. The air grows heavier, more oppressive. The drums beat faster, louder, a frantic rhythm that seems to drive out all other thought, all other sound. You watch, your stomach churning, your breath caught in your throat as the first family approaches the altar. The mother clutches her infant, her body shaking uncontrollably. The father, his face a mask of agony, gently takes the child from her arms. This is the moment of ultimate surrender, of profound despair. With a final heart-wrenching sob, the child is placed onto the outstretched, superheated hands of the bronze god. You hear the sickening sizzle, the sudden sharp cry that is swiftly muffled by the roar of the fire and the frantic beating of the drums. The smell of burning flesh, sweet and acrid, now becomes overwhelming, burning your nostrils, searing itself into your memory. The parents stand motionless, their eyes fixed on the horrifying spectacle, their faces numb with grief and trauma. This is their offering. This is their plea. They believe that by sacrificing their most precious possession, they are ensuring the survival of their remaining children, the prosperity of their family, the very existence of their community. In their minds, the horror of this act is outweighed by the even greater horror of divine wrath and collective annihilation. One by one, other families approach. The rhythmic thud of the drums, the wailing of the mothers, the chilling cries that are swiftly silenced, it becomes a horrifying procession. You feel a profound sense of helplessness, of outrage, but you are part of this community. To question, to resist, would be to invite the wrath of Moloch upon yourself, upon your own family. You must bear witness, you must endure the trauma, and you must pray that your neighbor's sacrifices are enough to appease the hungry God. As the sun begins to set, casting long crimson shadows across the Tophet, the fires eventually die down. The air remains heavy with the stench of death, a lingering reminder of the profound and shocking ritual you have witnessed. The parents return to their homes empty-handed, but with the terrifying hope that their sacrifice has been accepted, that their future, however grim, has been secured. You walk away from the Tophet, the image of the bronze god, the wailing mothers, and the terrible cries etched forever into your mind. You have seen humanity pushed to its absolute breaking point, making the most desperate, shocking, and profoundly agonizing offering imaginable. Under the shadow of Moloch, life was cheap, and the price of survival was sometimes paid in the most innocent of blood. You stand in a sacred space, perhaps a dimly lit chamber, or an outdoor clearing beneath a sacred tree. The atmosphere is hushed, thick with nervous anticipation. The sounds are minimal, the rustle of leaves, the distant calls of unseen creatures, and the low rhythmic chanting of priests or shamans, invoking the serpent deity. You can feel the collective breath being held, the palpable tension in the air. Before you, the focus of the ritual is a large venomous serpent, a cobra, a viper, a rattlesnake, contained within a basket or a ceremonial pit. Its scales shimmer in the faint light, its unblinking eyes seem to stare into your very soul, its forked tongue flicking, tasting the air. Your primal instincts scream danger, recoil from the inherent threat embodied by this creature. But here that fear must be overcome, transcended by faith. You are a devotee, perhaps chosen for this sacred task due to a vision, a dream, or a hereditary lineage. Your body has been purified through fasting and prayer. Your mind is focused, attempting to achieve a state of complete calm and surrender. You believe that if your faith is strong enough, the serpent will recognize your devotion, and its venom will be harmless, or its bite will be a mark of divine favor rather than death. The lead priest, a man whose face is etched with profound spiritual experience, begins a solemn invocation. He speaks of the serpent's ancient power, its connection to the earth, to renewal, to the cycles of life and death. He describes its ability to shed its skin, a powerful metaphor for transformation and rebirth. He calls upon the serpent deity to manifest, to bless the community, to impart its wisdom. With a dramatic flourish, the priest unveils the serpent. It emerges slowly, cautiously, its head rising, its body coiling. The audience lets out a collective, soft gasp. You can feel your own heart hammering against your ribs. The serpent's movements are fluid, mesmerizing, hypnotic. Its gaze seems to hold you captive. Now, the priest or a chosen devotee, perhaps you, steps forward. Your hands are bare, unarmed. There is no trickery, no defanging, no sedation. This is a direct, visceral encounter with raw, untamed nature, believed to be the dwelling of the divine. You extend your hand slowly, deliberately towards the serpent. You are moving beyond fear, entering a state of profound trust and vulnerability. Feel the cool, dry touch of the serpent's scales against your skin. It is surprisingly smooth, muscular, alive. You might gently stroke its body, allowing it to coil around your arm or your neck. The weight of it, the coldness, the silent power, is intensely real. Your senses are overwhelmed. The faint musky scent of the reptile, the hiss of its breath, the feeling of its scales sliding over your skin. The audience watches in stunned silence, their eyes wide with awe and terror. They know the consequences of a misstep, of a moment of doubt. If your faith wavers, if the god is displeased, the serpent will strike and its venom will be swift and deadly. This is the ultimate test of devotion, a terrifying gamble with life itself. You might feel the serpent's tongue flicking against your skin, testing the air, tasting you. You might see its fangs sharp and glistening, poised to strike. But you remain calm, your breathing slow and steady. You believe you are protected, imbued with the divine grace of the serpent god. Or perhaps, you are simply in a trance-like state, transcending the immediate fear. In some rituals, the devotee might even invite a bite, a venomous kiss, believing that the pain and the poison are a direct conduit to the divine, a transformative experience that brings spiritual knowledge, healing, or heightened perception. Imagine the burning sensation, the sudden, searing agony as the fangs pierce your skin, injecting the potent neurotoxin or hemotoxin into your bloodstream. Your body would immediately react. Searing pain, swelling, numbness, paralysis, or even a systemic collapse. But in these sacred contexts, if the ritual is successful, the devotee might emerge unharmed, or only mildly affected, interpreting this as a clear sign of divine favor. Or they might endure intense suffering, even death, which is then seen as an ultimate sacrifice, a profound union with the deity, a path to spiritual power for the community. The line between sacred ecstasy and agonizing death is impossibly thin, a testament to the extreme nature of their faith. As the ritual concludes, the serpent is carefully returned to its resting place. You, the devotee, are either unharmed, radiant with a newfound spiritual power, or you are deeply marked, physically and spiritually, by the encounter. You might be seen as a living conduit to the divine, a healer, or a prophet. The experience has transformed you, pushed you to the very limits of human courage and belief. You carry the memory of the serpent's touch, its silent power, its potential for death and rebirth. You have faced your deepest, most primal fear and, through faith, transcended it. The serpent's venomous kiss is a shocking testament to humanity's ancient desire to connect with the divine through the most terrifying means imaginable, a ritual that forces you to confront the very thin line between life and death in the pursuit of spiritual truth. Now let's transport ourselves to the cold, windswept shores of Viking-age Scandinavia, a land shrouded in mist and legend, where sagas of fierce warriors and brutal vengeance were etched into the very landscape. The air here is biting, carrying the sharp scent of salt spray, wood smoke, and the underlying tang of iron and raw, unyielding survival. You are in a Viking longhouse, or perhaps on a desolate battlefield, and you are about to witness, or rather, imagine, a ritual of vengeance so shocking, so utterly horrific, that its very existence has been debated by historians. But in the fierce sagas, it lives, a chilling testament to Viking brutality, the Blood Eagle. You are a warrior, your village recently raided by a rival clan. Your chieftain, your family, your friends have been slain. You have been captured not for ransom but for a fate far worse, a fate reserved for the most hated enemies, for those who brought shame and destruction. You are brought before the victorious chieftain, a man whose eyes burn with a cold, unforgiving fury. Around him stand his warriors, their axes and swords still slick with blood, their faces grim. The sounds are sparse, the howl of the wind, the distant crash of waves, the occasional guttural command from your captors. You are dragged to a ritual stone, or perhaps a simple wooden post, where your captors begin their grim preparations. Your arms are bound, pulled taut, your back exposed to the biting air. You are forced to kneel, your head bowed, your breath coming in ragged gasps. You try to maintain your stoicism, your defiance, but a primal fear coils in your gut. You know the stories, the chilling whispers of the Blood Eagle, a punishment so utterly dehumanizing and agonizing that it transcends mere execution. The chieftain himself, or perhaps his most trusted warrior, approaches you not with a weapon of swift death, but with a sharp knife, a blade honed to a terrifying keenness. You feel its cold tip press against your spine just below your neck. A shiver of pure terror runs through your body, despite your best efforts to control it. The air is thick with anticipation, with the silent, watchful gaze of your enemies. The first cut begins. Feel it now intensely. A searing, agonizing slice along your spine from your neck down to your lower back, tracing the line of your ribs. There is no anesthetic, no mercy. You cry out, a raw, animal sound of pain that is quickly stifled by a rough hand over your mouth. Hot blood immediately wells up, running down your back, a crimson river soaking into your clothes. The smell of your own blood, warm and metallic, fills your nostrils, mingling with the cold, salty air. The executioner works with grim precision. He is not simply cutting, he is carving. With each agonizing stroke, he peels back the skin and muscle from your spine, slowly, meticulously, exposing your ribs. You feel the tearing of tissue, the excruciating pain as your flesh is separated from bone. Your body convulses, struggling against the restraints, but it is useless. The pain is a living entity, consuming your every thought, every sensation. Then the unimaginable. Using an axe or a blunt tool, your captor begins to sever your ribs from your spine, one by one. Imagine the sound, the sickening crunch of bone, the tearing of cartilage, the excruciating wrenching sensation as each rib is pried loose. Your lungs gasp for air, but the pain is so immense, so profound, that breathing itself becomes an unbearable agony. Each severed rib is then pulled outward, away from your body, creating the horrifying impression of a pair of blood-soaked, feathered wings. You are still alive through this unspeakable torment, your heart still beating a frantic rhythm against your exposed lungs. The air, cold and sharp, rushes into your open chest cavity, directly touching your lungs. You try to scream, but only a gurgle escapes your lips as your body, pushed to its absolute breaking point, begins to shut down. The executioner might sprinkle salt into your wounds, prolonging the agony, forcing you to endure every last shred of pain as a final brutal act of vengeance. Your enemies watch, their faces grim, their eyes fixed on the horrifying spectacle. This is not just an execution. It is a profound ritual of humiliation, a symbolic transformation of the enemy into a sacrifice for Odin, the All-Father, or to appease the spirits of their fallen kin. Your defiance, your spirit, is broken, scattered to the winds. The image of the blood eagle rising from your back is meant to be a terrifying message, a stark warning to all who would dare to defy the Viking raiders. Finally, mercifully, your life drains away. Your body, a grotesque canvas of suffering, slumps forward, your head falling limp. The silence that follows is profound, broken only by the mournful cry of a distant raven, a scavenger of the battlefield. The air still hangs heavy with the metallic tang of blood, a chilling testament to the utter brutality of Viking vengeance. You have endured or witnessed the absolute extremity of human cruelty, a ritual so shocking that it pushes the boundaries of belief. The blood eagle, whether a literal practice or a fearsome legend, embodies the raw, unyielding ethos of a warrior culture, a stark reminder of a time when the price of defeat was paid in unimaginable agony, etched forever into the saga of your flesh. Now let's leave the brutal, vengeful landscape of the Vikings and ascend to the serene, stark and utterly unique world of the Tibetan Plateau. The air here is thin, crisp and cold, carrying the clean scent of high-altitude grasslands, rocky peaks, and the ever-present aroma of juniper incense. You are in a remote mountain monastery or a high-altitude village, in a land where death is not feared as an end, but understood as a profound transition, a path to rebirth. Here, the final disposition of the body is a shocking yet deeply spiritual act of generosity and acceptance. The sky burial. You are a Tibetan Buddhist and your loved one, a revered elder or a cherished family member, has just passed away. Unlike your modern world, where bodies are carefully interred or cremated, in this ancient tradition, the body is seen as a mere empty vessel once the spirit has departed. It is temporary, an illusion, and clinging to it would only hinder the soul's journey to rebirth. The earth here is often too rocky for burial, and wood too scarce for cremation. So, a different, profound path is chosen. The body of the deceased is carefully prepared. It is not embalmed or preserved. Rather, it is gently cleaned, wrapped in white cloth, and left in a sitting position for a few days, during which monks chant prayers, guiding the soul through the bardo, the intermediate state between death and rebirth. The atmosphere is one of solemn contemplation, of deep spiritual focus, not morbid grief. You can hear the low, resonant chanting of the monks, the rhythmic striking of gongs and bells, filling the simple, unadorned room. On the appointed day, usually at dawn, the body is taken to a sacred site, a dirtro, often a high, windswept mountain peak or a desolate hilltop designated for sky burials. You accompany the procession, your breath misting in the cold morning air. The journey is silent, punctuated only by the crunch of your boots on the stony ground and the distant cry of eagles or vultures circling high above, their presence a sacred omen that as you arrive at the dirtro, the scene is stark. It is a flat, rocky expanse, devoid of trees, exposed to the vast, open sky. The air is intensely cold but also strangely pure. You can smell the faint, lingering scent of juniper incense from earlier ceremonies, mingled with the sharp, clean aroma of the mountain. Around you, other monks and Rojayapas, body breakers, are already present, preparing for the ritual. You are dragged to a ritual stone, or perhaps a simple wooden post, where your captors begin their grim preparations. Your arms are bound, pulled taut, your back exposed to the biting air. You are forced to kneel, your head bowed, your breath coming in ragged gasps. You try to maintain your stoicism, your defiance, but a primal fear coils in your gut. You know the stories, the chilling whispers of the blood eagle, a punishment so utterly dehumanizing and agonizing that it transcends mere execution. The chieftain himself, or perhaps his most trusted warrior, approaches you not with a weapon of swift death, but with a sharp knife, a blade honed to a terrifying keenness. You feel its cold tip press against your spine just below your neck. A shiver of pure terror runs through your body, despite your best efforts to control it. The air is thick with anticipation, with the silent, watchful gaze of your enemies. The first cut begins. Feel it now intensely. A searing, agonizing slice along your spine from your neck down to your lower back, tracing the line of your ribs. There is no anesthetic, no mercy. You cry out, a raw, animal sound of pain that is quickly stifled by a rough hand over your mouth. Hot blood immediately wells up, running down your back, a crimson river soaking into your clothes. The smell of your own blood, warm and metallic, fills your nostrils, mingling with the cold, salty air. The executioner works with grim precision. He is not simply cutting, he is carving. With each agonizing stroke, he peels back the skin and muscle from your spine, slowly, meticulously, exposing your ribs. You feel the tearing of tissue, the excruciating pain as your flesh is separated from bone. Your body convulses, struggling against the restraints, but it is useless. The pain is a living entity, consuming your every thought, every sensation. Then the unimaginable. Using an axe or a blunt tool, your captor begins to sever your ribs from your spine, one by one. Imagine the sound, the sickening crunch of bone, the tearing of cartilage, the excruciating wrenching sensation as each rib is pried loose. Your lungs gasp for air, but the pain is so immense, so profound, that breathing itself becomes an unbearable agony. Each severed rib is then pulled outward, away from your body, creating the horrifying impression of a pair of blood-soaked, feathered wings. You are still alive through this unspeakable torment, your heart still beating a frantic rhythm against your exposed lungs. The air, cold and sharp, rushes into your open chest cavity, directly touching your lungs. You try to scream, but only a gurgle escapes your lips as your body, pushed to its absolute breaking point, begins to shut down. The executioner might sprinkle salt into your wounds, prolonging the agony, forcing you to endure every last shred of pain as a final, brutal act of vengeance. Your enemies watch, their faces grim, their eyes fixed on the horrifying spectacle. This is not just an execution. It is a profound ritual of humiliation, a symbolic transformation of the enemy into a sacrifice for Odin, the All-Father, or to appease the spirits of their fallen kin. Your defiance, your spirit, is broken, scattered to the winds. The image of the blood eagle rising from your back is meant to be a terrifying message, a stark warning to all who would dare to defy the Viking raiders. Finally, mercifully, your life drains away. Your body, a grotesque canvas of suffering, slumps forward, your head falling limp. The silence that follows is profound, broken only by the mournful cry of a distant raven, a scavenger of the battlefield. The air still hangs heavy with the metallic tang of blood, a chilling testament to the utter brutality of Viking vengeance. You have endured, or witnessed, the absolute extremity of human cruelty, a ritual so shocking that it pushes the boundaries of belief. The blood eagle, whether a literal practice or a fearsome legend, embodies the raw, unyielding ethos of a warrior culture, a stark reminder of a time when the price of defeat was paid in unimaginable agony, etched forever into the saga of your flesh. Now let's leave the brutal, vengeful landscape of the Vikings and ascend to the serene, stark and utterly unique world of the Tibetan Plateau. The air here is thin, crisp and cold, carrying the clean scent of high-altitude grasslands, rocky peaks, and the ever-present aroma of juniper incense. You are in a remote mountain monastery or a high-altitude village, in a land where death is not feared as an end, but understood as a profound transition, a path to rebirth. Here, the final disposition of the body is a shocking yet deeply spiritual act of generosity and acceptance, the sky burial. You are a Tibetan Buddhist and your loved one, a revered elder or a cherished family member, has just passed away. Unlike your modern world, where bodies are carefully interred or cremated, in this ancient tradition, the body is seen as a mere empty vessel once the spirit has departed. It is temporary, an illusion, and clinging to it would only hinder the soul's journey to rebirth. The earth here is often too rocky for burial, and wood too scarce for cremation. So, a different, profound path is chosen. The body of the deceased is carefully prepared. It is not embalmed or preserved. Rather, it is gently cleaned, wrapped in white cloth, and left in a sitting position for a few days, during which monks chant prayers, guiding the soul through the bardo, the intermediate state between death and rebirth. The atmosphere is one of solemn contemplation, of deep spiritual focus, not morbid grief. You can hear the low, resonant chanting of the monks, the rhythmic striking of gongs and bells, filling the simple, unadorned room. On the appointed day, usually at dawn, the body is taken to a sacred site, a dirtro, often a high, windswept mountain peak or a desolate hilltop designated for sky burials. You accompany the procession, your breath misting in the cold morning air. The journey is silent, punctuated only by the crunch of your boots on the stony ground and the distant cry of eagles or vultures circling high above, their presence a sacred omen that as you arrive at the dirtro, the scene is stark. It is a flat, rocky expanse, devoid of trees, exposed to the vast, open sky. The air is intensely cold but also strangely pure. You can smell the faint, lingering scent of juniper incense from earlier ceremonies, mingled with the sharp, clean aroma of the mountain. Around you, other monks and Rojayapas, body breakers, are already present, preparing for the ritual. Now, let's descend from the serene heights of the Tibetan Plateau and plunge into the roaring, blood-soaked arena of ancient Rome. The air here is thick with the dust of the amphitheater, the sweat of thousands, the stench of wild animals, human fear, and the pervasive, metallic tang of fresh blood. You are in the heart of the Colosseum, or another grand amphitheater, and you are about to witness the most shocking and brutal form of public entertainment the world has ever known, the gladiatorial games and executions. You are a Roman citizen, perhaps a senator, a wealthy merchant, or a common plebeian, crammed into the tiered seating alongside tens of thousands of your fellow citizens. The sun beats down on the vast elliptical arena, baking the sand, the harina from which the word arena derives, that will soon be drenched in blood. The sounds are deafening, the roar of the crowd a collective beast of emotion, the blare of trumpets and horns, the murmur of excited chatter. This is not just entertainment, it is a profound social ritual, a spectacle of power, justice, and the brutal reality of life and death in the Roman Empire. The day begins with grand parades, the Pampa, a magnificent procession of gladiators, wild beasts, musicians, and officials, all entering the arena to the thunderous applause of the crowd. The gladiators, in their gleaming armor, walk with a grim dignity, knowing that for many this is their last walk. You admire their physical prowess, their disciplined bearing. They are slaves, criminals, or volunteers, men of immense courage, destined to fight for their lives and for the entertainment of the masses. After the parades, the beast hunts begin, the venations. Feel the excitement ripple through the crowd as the gates open and exotic, terrifying animals are unleashed into the arena. Lions, tigers, bears, leopards, wild boars, sometimes even elephants. The air fills with the roars of the beasts, the screams of the hunters, and the collective gasp of the crowd. Men, often condemned criminals or professional hunters, fight these animals, often with minimal armor, in a brutal dance of survival. You watch as a hunter, agile and swift, dodges a charging lion, then thrusts his spear into its flank, the animal's dying roar echoing through the vast space. It is thrilling, terrifying, and utterly captivating. At midday, a more grim spectacle often takes place. The public executions, the noxii. These are not gladiatorial contests, but straightforward killings of condemned criminals, often brutal and creative, designed as a deterrent and a demonstration of Roman power. Imagine prisoners being thrown to wild beasts, or forced to reenact mythological scenes where the condemned inevitably meet a gruesome end. You might see a man tied to a stake, devoured by a bear, or another crucified, his agonizing death a slow, public spectacle. The smell of fear, of fresh blood, of animal feces, is pungent in the hot sun. The crowd, though momentarily hushed, quickly returns to its boisterous self, seeing these deaths as a just punishment, a purging of society's undesirables. Then the main event, the gladiatorial contests. Feel the shift in energy in the Colosseum. This is the heart of the spectacle, the most anticipated part of the day. Gladiators, trained to perfection in their various fighting styles, the heavy Murmillo with his fish-crested helmet, the agile Retiarius with his net and trident, the mounted Esidarius, enter the arena. They salute the emperor with the chilling phrase, Ave Caesar, morituriti salutant. Hail Caesar, those who are about to die salute you. The trumpets blare, the crowd roars, and the fights begin. Imagine the clash of steel on steel, the grunt of effort, the sharp cries of pain, the whoosh of a net, the dull thud of a body hitting the sand. You are on the edge of your seat, your eyes fixed on the combatants. You choose your favorite, shouting encouragement, urging them on. This is a dance of death, a brutal ballet of skill, strength, and courage. You see gladiators lunging, parrying, striking. Blood sprays, bright crimson against the yellow sand. A gladiator falls, wounded, perhaps his sword arm severed, or a fatal blow to the chest. The crowd holds its breath. Will he be granted mercy? The fallen gladiator raises a finger, appealing to the editor, the organizer of the games, or the emperor. The crowd then signals its will. Thumbs up for mercy, often misinterpreted as thumbs down in modern culture, or thumbs down for death. Imagine the tension, the power of this collective decision. A gladiator's life hangs in the balance, decided by the whim of tens of thousands. If the crowd demands death, the victor delivers the final, decisive blow, often a swift thrust to the neck or heart, ending the suffering. You hear the final gasp, the collective sigh from the crowd. Another life extinguished for entertainment. The body of the fallen gladiator is then dragged away, sometimes by an attendant dressed as Charon, the ferryman of the underworld, with a hot iron poker to ensure death. Fresh sand is brought in to cover the bloodstains, and the next pair of gladiators enters. The cycle of life and death, of glory and oblivion, continues relentlessly. As the day concludes and the setting sun casts long shadows across the arena, painting the sand in hues of orange and red, you leave the Colosseum, your ears ringing with the sounds of the crowd, your senses saturated with the sights and smells of death. You might discuss the bravery of a particular gladiator, the skill of another, the spectacle of a beast hunt. For you, this is simply a part of Roman life, a necessary display of power, a thrilling form of entertainment. But to your modern mind, the great Roman spectacle is a shocking testament to human cruelty, to the casual disregard for life, and to the profound societal acceptance of brutal violence for entertainment. You have witnessed a world where death was not hidden, but celebrated, where human suffering was a public performance, a chilling echo of a power and a people far removed from your own. Now, as the echoes of the Roman crowds fade, let's step back, far from the specific heat and dust of any single ancient ritual, and find ourselves back in your own familiar space. The lights are dim, the air is still, and the comforting quiet of your modern world has settled around you once more. You're nestled in your bed, perhaps a little more aware of the soft sheets, the predictable warmth, the simple safety of your surroundings. We've journeyed through millennia, from the blood-soaked altars of the Aztecs to the frenzied forests of the Maenads, from the cold, preserving bogs of Iron Age Europe to the sun-baked silence of Tibetan peaks, and the roaring arenas of Rome. You felt the pain of trepanation, tasted the ashes of ancestors, smelled the incense of Delphi, and endured the chilling legends of the Blood Eagle. These are not just stories from dusty scrolls. They were the lived realities of people, imbued with profound meaning, terrifying necessity, and often shocking brutality. Think for a moment about the vast gulf between their world and yours. Your deepest fears might be a bad internet connection or a missed deadline. Their fears were famine, plague, divine wrath, tribal annihilation, or the terror of an unquiet spirit. Their solutions were often visceral, extreme, and utterly alien to your modern ethical framework. They sacrificed their children, walked on fire, opened skulls, consumed the dead, and found spiritual communion in acts that would send shivers down your spine today. Yet, despite the shock, can you feel the thread connecting you to them? The raw human emotions remain the same. Love, fear, hope, grief, the desperate desire for health, prosperity, and a meaningful existence. The difference lies in the understanding of the world, the interpretation of the divine, and the tools available to navigate the unpredictable, often terrifying currents of life. They sought control, certainty, and spiritual connection in ways that sometimes demanded unimaginable personal and collective sacrifices. You've witnessed how fragile life was, how absolute the power of their gods or nature could be. You've seen the sheer resilience of the human spirit, able to endure the most excruciating pain for a perceived greater good, able to find meaning in acts that you might deem abhorrent. Their rituals, however shocking, were deeply embedded in their cosmologies, their social structures, their very survival. They were not mere barbarism. They were profound attempts to make sense of an often senseless world, to appease forces they could not comprehend, to secure their place in the grand, terrifying tapestry of existence. As you drift towards sleep tonight, let these ancient echoes settle. Let the images of blood and fire, of sacrifice and ecstasy, remind you of the incredible diversity of human experience, the vast spectrum of belief, and the profound lengths to which humanity has gone in its quest for meaning. Be grateful for the comforts of your own time, the medical advancements, the ethical frameworks that have evolved. But also, perhaps, gain a deeper appreciation for the ingenuity, the courage, and the unwavering faith of those who lived in a world far harsher, far more demanding than your own. The shocking rituals of the past are a testament to the raw, untamed heart of humanity, forever imprinted on the canvas of history. And as the night deepens, let those ancient voices whisper not just of horror, but of resilience, of belief, and of the enduring, sometimes terrifying spirit that lives within us all. Sweet dreams, and may your own path be filled with comfort and peace, knowing the wild history from which you emerged.